What's up, guys? Kevin Cage back with another XRP update. If you want daily crypto news, be sure to like and subscribe, and let's get right into it. This video in particular is an absolute must-see. Props to all that can stick around for this one. I may actually have to break it up into two videos. Now, also, if you're wondering why my voice sounds weirder than usual, I completely lost my voice last night, so it's coming back now. Thanks for bearing with me. Alright, so this video is going to be one of those videos where in the next 6 months, we're going to look back at it and I'm either just going to be wrong or it will be a told you so video. Notice the XRP lawsuit, $1.3 billion right here, this tiny little dot, and this is shared by Crypto Whale. He bought XRP early on, Bitcoin early on, way back when. Now, the Tether lawsuit, $1.4 trillion, essentially 1,000 times bigger. Now, something we have to notice, guys, is this is one of those great sleight of hand tricks. We're all focused on this. Everybody, the sheep, everybody's focusing on this and making it bigger than it has to be. And yet we're missing the elephant in the room. Now, I've been one of those channels. I've talked badly about Tether USDT, the stablecoin, for quite some time because they can mint it as much as they want. Now, I'm going to be careful what I say in this video because the YouTube algorithm will block this video, or at least limit the number of views if I say certain words. But it involves QE, if you guys know what I'm throwing. Now, this is another one of the sleight of hand tricks. Last month, I have videos talking about this, and everybody's screaming bull run, and it's all good and great, but I've had targets for XRP, because there's gaps, and I know people laugh at the gaps, and there's more analysis that goes into it. All my charting is for Patreon, all right? My supporters know what's going on, but essentially, XRP, in my opinion, is not going to zero. We have the former SEC chairman, or the SEC chairman, the former chairman, say, not Jay, the guy before him, literally say, XRP is not a security. In video, we showed it like 3 or 4 videos ago. He said it is more like a currency to him. So it's not going to be a security. It's either going to be a currency, a commodity, or some new type of classification like a utility token. Now, I did see Crypto Eddie share this in a recent video. And right here, so we have Hester Peirce, I've heard it 2 different ways, the US SEC commissioner, and this is shared by Status. She's quoted to say, if you're raising money for a company, sure, that's a security, but if you are just selling something to be used in a functioning network, doesn't look like a security to me. Now, what's going to happen, and I'm literally betting my life on this, there's going to be clarity in due time, but the longer they drag it out, the more fear, and it just scares people out. The uncertainty is exactly what they use as their leverage. Now, yes, Ripple maybe early on in their continued sales could be seen as security sales. XRP, though, is not a security. And you can go through the Howey test, of course, which is completely outdated. And if it doesn't go and fulfill all of those 4 criteria or whatever they were specifically, because I went through them before, it's not a security. I guarantee they're just trying to make an example out of Ripple. I've already given you the speculation of Jay Clayton doing this on purpose. We have Charles Hoskinson, founder of Cardano, quoted to say, I think 2021 is going to be one of the most significant years in the history of our industry for crypto regulation in the United States. It's going to be the deciding year of whether the United States is a friendly or a hostile jurisdiction. And for those of you that have done your research, I don't have to reassure you, but the reason I try to do these videos is because I feel like it's my responsibility, because a lot of people are looking up information and using these videos, and then they go on and develop and do their own research and further it. So I do feel like it's my responsibility to reassure people at the same time, but those of us that have done our research, we know that we don't need any reassurance. We've seen all we need to see. All right, XRP, in my opinion, it's not going to zero. For the people that are capitulating, I have empathy for your situation. I'm not going to laugh at you. I will not judge you. You may be able to buy back lower. But at the end of the day, we're all in this together. And there's no right way. There is only your way. All right? So, first things first. Let's go through this. And I want to just really paint a picture for you guys today. We have Turkey, the country in particular, piloting digital currencies in 2021, focusing on wholesale. That is, again, XRP's use case as well. They're focusing on wholesale. CBDC development and last mile settlement is important. We already know one of the bridge assets. And there's going to be many assets potentially, and some will be connected to DLT systems that are permissioned or permissionless and vice versa. But this is the ecosystem we're going in. And I'm going to show you some new hiring positions for BlackRock, one of the biggest custody or custodians, I should say, in the world, with nearly $7 trillion assets under management. So, really quick to paint a picture, and this is relevant. This isn't me just taking something out of left field. We have right here, $200 billion in fines. Mega banks rack up penalties from illegal activities. And of course, we're used to this. They get a slap on the wrist. They end up more profitable anyways, and nobody does anything. It's a joke. It's corrupt. And we can see some of the big banks here, and it's essentially $200 billion in settlements. Bank of America, RippleNet, $91 billion. We have Citi, and we also have JP Morgan, and the third bank with them would be HSBC, which is a massive bank. Those three banks, Citi, JP Morgan, and HSBC, process 80% of all cross-border transactions in the world. And that is a quote from, of course, Ashish Burla as well in a recent interview with Ripple. And this is just all right in front of us. You have to look at this. We can also talk about some of the former Morgan Stanley people that work at Ripple, etc. And then the majority of RippleNet partners are Goldman Sachs backed. Goldman Sachs, their hand is in everybody's cookie jar. There's no doubt about it. You can watch the sleight of hand trick that even Jamie Dimon did with Bitcoin time and time again. This is how the world works, unfortunately. All right, so they're not going to shake me out. Every dollar that I've invested is something that I was willing to lose, and I'm swinging the bat. And I cannot wait for it to pay off for people, because right now, these next few months are going to be tough. People are going to get toxic. They're going to blame YouTubers. They're going to blame bloggers. They're going to attack the company Ripple. I'm a big boy. I'm not blaming anybody. And guess what? When I make it, I'm going to thank myself too. All right? So I just wanted to point this out, and let's go through a few things. Right here, David Lighton, quote, CEO of SendFriend. Companies like Western Union, again, MoneyGram's main competitor in the money service business world, can charge up to 10% to service a payment. We can get it done for 2% by leveraging RippleNet's on-demand liquidity. That's specifically XRP. That's just another example. Go to the website status.hr. You guys can learn and read all of them. They're all sourced as well. All right. Right here, Crypto Whale. The 1.4 trillion lawsuit against Tether is over. 1,000% larger than XRP's tiny 1.3 billion SEC lawsuit. Yet people are worried about XRP falling to zero. Time and time again, this is a simple shakeout. If you guys watched that 2-minute video I uploaded of Tika Tawari, I know Digital Asset Investor shows it a lot as well. It's because it's very relevant and good. And I think a lot of people that are new need to hear it. The 90s, they did the same thing in the dot-com bubble. 2 years, nearly 2 years, they suppressed the price, and when you look at the charts and the graphs, it was the highest number of institutional accumulation. This is happening again. The 2017 bull run was nothing but a little test. And I guarantee, even if XRP goes sub 20 cents, I have my target set. Sub 10 cents, it will not last long, and it will be done, and then it's game time. Most people were expecting the bull run to happen. And remember, I even have videos going back, and at least my Patreon supporters have everything. But literally saying this could potentially be the most savage bull trap in 2020. And what happened? We have a 50% candle on the daily for XRP. Now, I don't have a crystal ball. I can't predict the timing or anything. But what I'm saying is we have gaps under 20 cents. So for those of you that are saying we're bottomed, you cannot guarantee that. All right, I entertain both sides. When I have a bearish scenario, I also have a bullish scenario. I see where we need XRP to go to get validation of a trend reversal. But until then, I still have cash on the side. And again, once I'm in my buy zones, I will dollar cost average and start unloading. Until then, I have plenty and I'm ready to sit on my hands. I didn't think this was going to be easy, but I do believe it will be worth it. All right, not to get too motivational there, but right here. This is the whole story in this narrative, guys, and this is going to happen. So please pay attention. Do not get distracted by Bitcoin all-time high, which is artificially propped up by fake money. And I'm just going to show you a few examples. So Tether regulation proposal, apocalyptic for crypto. Now we have some of this FUD with the cold storage and, U.S. Treasury Secretary Mnuchin coming hard at it, potentially. We have this narrative with the SEC coming after people. We have Tether minting more than even the Federal Reserve does. And please, I just know that this narrative is going to take place. And remember, I entertain the possibility of Bitcoin going sub 10,000. And what do you think will happen to the rest of the alts? So that is one possibility. And if you don't like that possibility, it just means that you don't want to entertain both sides. I'm prepared for the bullish and the bearish scenarios. And that's what I encourage you guys to do. So you're not, surprised and hit in the face like this, because it happens. And I know a lot of you guys that at least watch this channel were prepared. So I want to read a few things here and just another example. Let's see. I wanted to show you right here. So this is Tori sharing this. Don't worry, Bitcoin's growth is all organic and institutional. We have, look at this, amount of USDT minted at the crypto market 3 weeks ago. We can see Tether prints $1 billion in a month in April. We can see October 2020, minted again, $500 million. This is not sustainable. It's not backed by anything. Mints, 80 million USDT in July. Now, I've shown you the charts, and look, Crypto Whale right here commenting. He shows every time Tether stops printing, the same thing happens again. And it's followed by a correction. So please, if you watch bullish information, that is fine. Because yes, when you're looking at a chart and you're, anticipate your investment to go up, you're going to look for bullish scenarios. But just make sure you know the worst case scenario so you can prepare for both sides. This does not change anything or my future targets for XRP in the upside. All this was the final cup that has to be formed that was designed to trick 99% of people looking at the charts. It was supposed to mirror the past fractals, and it worked perfectly. Even with the XRP BTC chart, there is still one more little cup that has to be formed. And I'll tell you this one thing, and this is just how I see it. If XRP goes, say, under 26 cents, it's going to have one drop, and then I believe it's going to have at least one more drop after that. All right? And so that's why I believe that, there's gaps even around the 17, 18 cent region at the very least, and there's some others that you have to consider. So we have to look at the CME gaps and all of this and prepare for the worst. And if I'm wrong, awesome. I'm an idiot. We're rich sooner. XRP starts going up. And if anything, all I did was made you guys more cautious. I don't want to make you fearful. I just want you to be more cautious and have plans in place. I'm not telling you to sell your XRP. I'm holding my long-term XRP. I'm not selling that, it's even, $10, $15. Come on, guys. There's so many more deeper connections. We know where this is going. All right. So I wanted to read through this because this is very important to know. So unregulated stablecoins such as Tether. Now I like USDC, USD Coin Circle. They are tight with Brian Brooks, who oversees the US banking system, the acting comptroller of currency. So Circle is another fintech that I think is safe, and it's regulated and compliant. So Tether, on the other hand, has been very shady for years. If you guys have been in the space witnessing it, and now Tether essentially governs this entire market. If they shut down Tether, or at least shut the on-ramps off, Tether, liquidity in these other ecosystems will die. You can go to CoinMarketCap, and again, this is just what I want to point out. You can go to CoinMarketCap, and you look at the Tether volume. This is 76 billion with a B. This is more volume than Bitcoin and even Ethereum combined. That's powerful, isn't it? Now you have to understand it. This is just artificially propping it up. We criticize the US government for the same practices. Now, of course, there's no doubt in my mind the future cryptocurrency market will surpass the trillions or even go to the tens of trillions easily, in my opinion. But for now, there's going to be a lot of regulation. There's going to be a lot of fear that chases people out. And the projects that are utility-based, when regulations are clear, are going to skyrocket. And yes, that is why my bets are big into Ethereum, XRP. I love Polkadot. I like ADA. I'm very interested in it. Yeah, I entertain Link. QNT, Quant is another sleeper. Even though I bought that early on, like literally late 2018, maybe the first month of 2019, and then just kept buying more. Algorand, there's just plenty of great projects that I like, and there's some alts that you guys find that are going to kill it and probably outperform me. But at the end of the day, it's important that you're in this market and you understand that you're not going to be shaken out by silly pieces of news. The banks, these articles, they're not for us. There's a narrative at play. It's either to get clicks or to chase you out. It's the same thing. JP Morgan does the same thing. All right, sleight of hand. So right here, a new US bill called the Stable Act is stirring anxiety in crypto circles. Passage could effectively put an end to billions of dollars of transactions, and that's tons of volume that Tether's involved in, guys. Tons of volume. The repercussions of this could be bad. And I know this video is going to get a lot of dislikes because it's not all, hypey-hopium that we're going up, because I'm talking about bad scenarios. But this is something that people need to hear, so be it. All right, so this could throw the industry back several years. Blah, I think this is part of the FUD. I think this is literally just going to be a rubber band that pulls it back like a slingshot to propel it faster forward than ever before. Also, the bill proposes additional requirements for the Federal Reserve reporting. It also proposes issuance approval in addition to ongoing auditing requirements and an insurancy policy to cover assets. This is getting very interesting, guys. This is when government is leaning in and potentially going to take over everything that crypto should stand for. All right. And yes, I'm all for decentralized peer-to-peer networks, just so you know. But I also believe that Ripple working with the system is a lot more attainable. And I personally do believe that Bitcoin is an inside job. It's not as decentralized as the media taught you it was. And that's just a personal belief of mine. So we're going to keep in mind this. And remember, if Tether comes down, what happens to Bitcoin? Well, I wouldn't be surprised to see Bitcoin have a 50% candle down just like XRP did. And yes, we still have CME gaps, and for anybody that laughs at those, 99% of those gaps are filled in the future. So we will simply see, and all that matters is, for those of us that are holding XRP, the last laugh is the only one that matters. right here. So again, this is Michael Val, 5 links actually sharing that, and I wanted to point that out. That whole stable act could spell the end of Tether. Now we've seen this narrative. Is there a case where Tether survives? Yes, but until then, there's a lot of uncertainty. If I have cash on exchanges or anywhere I'm going to buy crypto, I'm keeping it in US dollars or USDC, which is my chosen stablecoin. Now, unfortunately, USDT is a lot more liquid, but so be it. That is the risk I'm willing to take. All right, at least the trade-off. So when Bitcoin has a 50% candle, like XRP someday in the future, remember this. There's going to be so many narratives as the single reason. They're going to say, oh, well, the Dow Jones is finally crashing after all-time high, even though the stock market, the stock market's at an all-time high, yet unemployment rates, everything is just absolutely insane. We're printing into oblivion. I can't even go to a restaurant and eat a sandwich, and yet everybody's saying that Bitcoin's going to keep going up and the Dow Jones is going to keep going up. Makes no sense to me, but so be it. And we also have gaps in the Dow Jones at lower levels, so it could justify a 20% dip. And just remember, Dow Jones gaps close as well. All right, these liquidity gaps actually hold some weight, believe it or not. All right, so right here, guys, avoid Tether. For the last year, I've seen several pages, including myself, trying to make this point known. And I just wanted to say this, to buy the dip, USDC or USD. Please be safe, decide for yourselves. And I mean, sometimes if I do have Tether, it's very temporarily just because there's no USDC pairing, but I just wanted to make that known. All right, right here. How Chinese use illegal online gambling and Tether to launder over $1 trillion yuan. These are many narratives at play. Some will blame, the CME gaps to get filled. Some will say it's regulation, or they'll say it's a security threat. There's going to be so many narratives. All I know is that Tether is going to fit into this narrative in the future. All right. Already showed you that. Just the printing, just one little example. And this, has a massive, massive history. Right here. Dilip, guys, former Ripple executive. Ultimately, all of that escrowed XRP, billions of XRP, will be owned by institutions for Nostro replacements as a bridge currency or potentially for other use cases. And I love that, potentially other use cases, because it's going to go beyond just reducing and, potentially even eliminating the pre-funded accounts around the globe. Instead of holding a basket of 10 or 100 currencies, you can have XRP and save half the spread. And the funny thing is this. The United States is the only country coming after Ripple, the company. Every other company's fine. We already understand, what was it? It was 80 or 90% of all their customer base and transaction volume is outside of the United States. So the United States can either, welcome this innovation and they're good and they can be a part of it, or they can play catch up later on. It's going to happen elsewhere. And that is why I'm not afraid, even as a US investor. And another piece of advice, God, I hate my voice right now, but another piece of advice I have is, and I know a lot of people aren't going to want to do it, but for me to make millions, I'm doing whatever it takes. I want to have, KYC AML on 30 different exchanges and on-ramps with XRP, because if they halt trading, just like they're doing on Bitstamp in January, if they did it on Coinbase, Binance US, Kraken, all my on-ramps, what am I going to do? I need backup plans if I do see a low-priced XRP, and that is just one scenario. If we rock it up from here, awesome. But I am playing the, worst-case scenario. I prepare for the worst, and I hope for the best. And for me, that's always helped manage emotions in the space. So interesting. They already have their goal, the holy grail of XRP being held by institutions, and I'll go over that in a future video as well. We have Bank XRP sharing this. SBI, under Japanese law, XRP is a cryptocurrency asset under the Fund Settlement Law, and it is not applicable to securities. The group will continue to actively support the activities of Ripple. And again, it is just right here if you want to translate it from Japanese. And this was on December 28th, 2020. SBI, please understand the caliber of people and the networks behind Ripple. It is not just Ripple. You have to look at who's behind them and who owns them. We have Digital Currency Group, DCG. Remember, we have, what's the gentleman's name? I'm blanking on not Gary Cohen, the older guy with the glasses, Glenn Hutchins. And we also have Barry Silbert behind that, Digital Currency Group, Digital Currency Group. I'm almost blanking on it. But they were behind Grayscale, which essentially is probably going to own, well over 1 million Bitcoin in the future. This is billions and billions of dollars. This is all part of the plan, in my opinion. Why did Ripple join the ISO framework as the only DLT-focused group? We know that ISO is focused on messaging. RippleNet has the software. We understand there's only one viable option that can provide, reduce and have no counterparty risk and actually reduce the pre-funded accounts around the globe. There's no other competitor in my mind that checks off all the boxes that XRP does, the secret sauce of Ripple. If you guys sell, that is completely fine. There's no judgment from me. There's only empathy. But I am not getting shaken out when I've been preparing mentally for this. And I assume many people have prepared mentally for bull runs. You probably lay at bed at night and you fantasize XRP at $10, $100, $1,000, and you do the math. For me, though, as a contrarian investor, I not only do that, but I actually prepared, even the last 6 months or so, for the worst case scenario. So whatever happens, I'm ready to adapt and at least try to optimize my gains. And yes, it's no fun watching our portfolio go down 50% from where it was, but that is just one thing I recommend. All right? Get your buys set up. Also, so we have Greg Mannarino. For those of you that watch him, he's pretty goofy at times, but I wanted to show you his take on XRP, the dip. Of course, he's had some great calls with Bitcoin as well, and just overall understanding the ramifications of geopolitical tension of this digital Cold War between China, Russia, getting away from the constraints or the holding of SWIFT. There's just too many things coming together, guys, for me to give up on my XRP investment, essentially creating the opportunity for the perfect storm. And for those of you that have done your research, I know you don't even need to hear that. You don't need reassurance because you've seen all you need to see.
Let's talk about this Ripple and the SEC. The SEC, let's see, this is the same SEC that was given a blueprint of what Bernie Madoff was doing by Harry Markopolos.
And also the SEC, remember, and this is what everybody says, this is fact, and this should be in mainstream. The SEC says that they're here to protect everyday investors. That is garbage. All they're doing is trying to fatten their own pockets every single time. We are not in their best interest. They could not care less. It's all a bunch of bureaucrats, time and time again, and I think that should become the popular opinion. They're not trying to protect themselves. They're essentially limiting innovation, and they want to get in control and essentially, say what's what. And if it's not a security, they have no business doing so. So it's most likely are going to get a slap on the wrist, and I hope it happens sooner than later, because when we have clarity and we have rules of the road, we can fly. Now listen to what Greg says about XRP.
On more than one occasion, but they couldn't figure it out. So the SEC, how about a bunch of idiots of the highest order? All right. In my opinion, nothing's going to come of this. Could I be wrong? Sure. But for right now, I see this dip in Ripple as a buying opportunity. I own some. Am I selling it? How about no? No. No and no. No, absolutely. I will be buying the dip here. And until I'm wrong, I'm going to buy the dip. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm going to do with this market and everything else, because this is la la land.
And also, guys, I don't care how low we go. I'm not going anywhere. I've seen all we need to see. Provided I have time, I will keep making videos. And I cannot wait to pass this. And we're going to realize that we were right all along. And this was just the final cup to be formed. Ignore the FUD. Do not give it attention. There's going to be more and more of that. Just like we saw, the gas token guy. When XRP was 20 to 25 cents, he tried to get everybody to sell their XRP right before we went to 92 cents. This market, if you are new, even in the last 6 months, this market is a game of manipulation. It is psychological warfare. It is very, very powerful, and they roll things out in very, very strange ways. All right? And if that, advice helps one person, it's all worth it. Right here, Crypto Whale. Everyone said Tesla was going to fail and drop to zero in 2018. And I remember that. And Elon Musk was sued by the SEC for securities fraud. The exact same thing is happening right now with XRP. Guys, there's been so many other crypto projects that this has happened to. I'm not worried. The only thing I'm worried about is just everyday people giving up and liquidating their entire position. If it's security, you can still get I don't really get the logic there. You should understand the ramifications of if it's officially security, if it was a security early on, or if Ripple's just sales were construed as one. You have to understand each ramification and then decide accordingly. All right? Right here, Tesla chief Elon Musk is sued by SEC and move that could oust him. Right there. And look what happened shortly after. And I believe XRP will make this look tiny. As you know, this is going to be the internet of value, not internet of small value. Next, right here. And these are the narratives that we have to pay attention to. And I'm actually going to look at this a little differently. So institutions will start buying Ethereum in 2021. Now there's some clips. I may show it. Maybe I'll show it in the next video of Joe Lubin of Consensus. talking, kind of arguing with Brad Garlinghouse of Ripple, but you have to look at all of this and understand what this means for futures and betting on the future price. This doesn't always drive price up like they want you to believe. This can be a game of manipulation. Now, Ethereum is one of my long-term holdings. I believe, yes, it'll go to 5,000 plus, 10,000 plus with absolute ease in my mind. I think it is a very solid project, provided that it can actually get this migration and go to proof of stake successfully. Now, there's a lot of moving parts and institutions are involved. JP Morgan is involved in Ethereum. Do not be fooled, all right? So do not be fooled by any of that. I'm not going to be shaking out hundreds of thousands of projects built on top of it, but just remember, there's plenty of narratives, all right? And CME Group was an early investor in the company Ripple. So you can look at these groups like SBI, who is R3 and Ripple. I mean, essentially partial owners, just like Digital Currency Group. And just please understand, Ripple, the company, and XRP is the black sheep of crypto. And I just can't wait for the storm to pass so that people actually realize it. Because when, XRP was 50 cents, 80 cents, everybody's so happy. And, they say that they wish they could buy lower. And then when we're there, a lot of people don't pull the trigger. And it's so funny and interesting to watch that emotional switch. It happens time and time again. All right, right here. Also, Ripple's hiring another staff software engineer. We can see right here more than the $155 trillion across borders that the world sends today. And we can kind of see what they're going to do, executing settlement within seconds, distributed payment applications. This is the future, guys. Just wanted to keep you up to date with that. Also, instead of just watching Ripple, let's watch the entire crypto scene. You guys hear the term digital assets like in my last video. Well, they're saying crypto assets. We have asset management giant BlackRock hiring VP with expertise in valuating crypto assets. Remember, Robbie Mitchnick, formerly at Ripple briefly, and he did the valuation framework for XRP, valuing at even $6 to $32 with his model. They showed, again, he was head of blockchain lead at BlackRock. If you guys watch the podcast as well of him speaking, the future of digital assets, and now they're valuing crypto. This is what's happening right now when everybody is considering to sell all their XRP or, fear lawsuits and give up on their crypto. No, that is my advice. Now, please do your own research. I'm not a financial advisor, but I am not going without a fight whatsoever. I didn't think it was going to be easy, but I do think it's going to be worth it. All right, I already talked about this. Turkey, just another country piloting digital currency. Biggest point I want to make is just a push on wholesale rather than retail for CBDCs, all right? Right here, the pandemic year ends with a tokenized carbon cap and trade solution. Lowering CO2 emissions reminds me of just Energy Web Token, partnering with XRP Ledger Foundation, as well, and lessening the carbon-intensive approaches are essential goals in the global efforts to fight climate change. These are the narratives we've heard Steve Mnuchin on TV say, I would be surprised if you even hear of Bitcoin in the next 5 to 6 years. For me, I listen to these people, and yes, I take it with a grain of salt. You can make any puppet dance if you pull the right strings. But why is he saying that? Why is Mark Carney, former governor of the Bank of England and a paid RippleNet client, saying that as well? There's a lot of narratives, and if you guys have connected the dots for the past few years, you get it. And it's so hard to do in one single video. It's essentially impossible. All right, right here. Digital currencies may make SWIFT redundant, says Russian central bank report. Now we have not only the CEO of MoneyGram, Alex Holmes, saying that Ripple is chipping away and taking essentially, slice by slice of that pie. It's happening in front of our eyes. And I know people are looking at XRP price and lawsuit, and they're missing the greater plan, and they're missing the actual order that all of this happened. They don't know about the Global Payment Steering Group in 2016. They don't know about the founding members. They do not know about the DTCC's involvement, the former president taking over as chairman of RippleNet. They're looking at everything that the media wants you to, and they're missing what's really happening. And in my opinion, this could be one of the greatest sleight of hand tricks ever played before, ever. Okay, so digital currencies may challenge and someday could make redundant the SWIFT global banking payment system. Yeah, of course, according to a Central Bank of Russia report. Again, Russia, one of the BRICS nations. SWIFT is just messaging, guys. 10,000 clients, 80-20 rule, as we could apply to Ripple as well. Keep this in mind. There's going to be more and more of this, but these countries do not want to, settle on these rails, and everything's US dollar denominated, and the fees and the intermediaries are leeches and parasites, taking fees and time out of this. We're going to have this transfer of wealth sooner than later, and it will be happening each and every day. All right. And then also 2021 trends in CBDCs, more pilots, maybe some launches, but not for retail. Notice the main focus will be on wholesale digital currencies. For most governments, 2021 will be a year of further education. Well, I also predict 2021 in the beginning will be massive, massive market manipulation and fear. I mean, who knows? It's going to be, presidential administration conspiracies, Tether, Dow Jones, more lockdowns. These stimulus checks that are coming. It's going to be fear, guys. This is what's going to happen. And I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but I could definitely guess, and I'm sure we can speculate here and there. And we're going to see when there will be clarity, because I assume that the price will move up massively before the clarity is released to us everyday people. All right. And lastly, guys, Germany passed this new law to allow digital securities on the blockchain. The other day, we just saw another narrative as well, with Coinbase being able to list security tokens. Then if we take a step further back, we do recall that Coinbase and Ripple were early investors in Securities. So we could see some vested interest and potential partnerships with them in the future as well. So in summation, guys, please stick around for these 2 minutes. I know I hate my voice. I cannot wait to sound normal again, but I want to go through this. $200 billion in fines for the banks. With blockchain, the intermediaries will disappear. These intermediaries in the real estate markets, in the legal world, they're parasites. They leech fees. When blockchain has automation with smart contracts and immutability and transparency to a certain degree, all those intermediaries that are serving a purpose now, those jobs are going to become redundant, and then they will be forced to go provide value elsewhere in this economy. It's going to be a very interesting rebalance, and that is where we could potentially see this essentially be one of the completing points to create this Cambrian explosion, like Chris Larson always says. $200 billion in sanctions and settlements. Well, if this could be automated, maybe this number could be reduced, and that money, that capital money, or that capital could be pushed somewhere else. All right, we have different quotes from, David Lighten as well, many others. Remember, one of the greatest sleight of hand tricks. My honest thoughts, and yes, I could be wrong, but I want to put this out there. I believe this is all just a charade. This is all just a sleight of hand. We're getting, everyday people to get, terrified of this. This run up for XRP was deliberate. You get the 92 cents. Everyone thinks we're going up, up, and up. Some people buy at 70 cents. And then boom, one final drop makes everybody's stomachs drop. And the price actually tricks them into thinking that they do not know what they hold. Those of us that have been here several years, we're good, but this video is meant to reassure some people that are new in the last 6 months. And please do your own research. Do not act out of emotion. That is, my biggest thing. If you decide to sell, make sure you do research first and decide. That is my recommendation. Now, Tether, I believe this will be the greatest sleight of hand trick ever. I think 2021 could be the year when Tether falls on its face. And of course, we have to understand the ramifications of what that could do for the cryptocurrency market as a whole. Artificially propped. And in the future, it will not be artificial. There will be utility and actual volume growing, not just wash trading. If you guys, do your research, you understand most of the volume that we see today is just wash trading. It is artificial. It is fake. It's just exchanges and trading bots moving their money back and forth. All right. Please do some research about this. If anything that I've said today sounds questionable, please look into Tether, look into, them minting and understand their process and regulation. It is a complete joke. And yes, I entertain the idea of Bitcoin, if Tether explodes, Bitcoin going under $10,000. Anybody that entertains the possibility, it doesn't have to, but anybody that entertains the possibility of both bearish and bullish scenarios are very smart people in my book. So that is why I cannot turn my back to this. We have CME gaps. We have actually another cup if people read the fractal wrong for the XRP BTC chart. There's a lot of things and a lot of confluences that I'm seeing as well. All right. And I've tried sharing it on Patreon as well. USD, USDC, be safe, guys. I mean, come on. You can see all these narratives perfectly. I mean, look at the printing history of Tether, just on and on and on. All right. Look at the CEO of, all these companies, of MoneyGram speaking highly, saying they're chipping away at what Swift is doing. This, to me, there's just a greater plan, and I just encourage you guys to do your research. Japan and the FSA declaring it, Singapore, the UK, G20 nations, and yet we're afraid of the United States giving them a slap on the wrist. It's a joke, and the thing is, the FUD is working. I'm seeing, some researchers saying that they're selling all their XRP, they can't take it. And I'm not judging them, but I'm just letting you guys know I am not going anywhere because I've seen all I need to see, and I'm not about to get shaken out right before this thing takes off. NASDAQ, as we know, this is a NASDAQ article integrated with R3. and they worked on the price engine. We know Bank of America and Integramat and Bitstamp integrations. My advice, get on as many exchanges as possible. KYC, AML. I have nothing to hide. I'm not laundering money, so I have no issue with having multiple on-ramps as a just-in-case type of insurance. But, decide for yourselves, guys. I'll keep putting this information out there. There's a bunch for the next video, and I know this is all over the place, and I really hate my voice right now, but I wanted to put this out there. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. And also, if you do not have a crypto domain, kevincage.crypto is mine in the top right of this video. You can get one in the link in the video description, and I will see you in the next video.